Where the hell's he going? Oh, got back end out there. Right, who's leading? Fucking tosser. Now then guys, I finally found my drift. So, thought it's Wednesday, it's my mate Dan's day off. Dan's behind. And had to go through to Darlow, so thought I'd stick the old drift on the helmet and go for a blast. Now there is going to be a topic to this little adventure, and it's going to be known as the Ugly Duck Project. Basically my bike's fucked. Well, it's not, it's on the verge of being fucked. So what I'm going to do is rebuild it. And that includes all of it. Now, it's going to take me some time, and it's also going to take me some money, but when it's finished, it's going to be a completely different bike altogether. As far as the engine goes, modifications are going to be a higher compression piston. Not gone completely mad with it, but certainly enough to change the characteristics of the engine. I'm also going to put a stage 1 cam in it. I'm going to put aftermarket valves. Aftermarket springs. I'm also going to fit all braided hoses for the oil. And fit an oil cooler on the front. As far as the chassis and the swing arm goes, that's going to get powder coated or painted depending on costs. I'm also going to get the same colour the tank and the yokes. And there's also going to be a bit of an extra added to that, which I'm going to keep secret for now. As far as the suspension goes, the rear shock's now knackered. It bottoms out completely, which is altering the geometry of the bike. Although it's still rideable, you've got to be rather careful. Don't go too hard into corners, etc. Because it just feels like it wants to get a tank slapper on all the time. So I am having to exercise some caution. So on the front forks, I was going to pay somebody to do them because of the price of the tool, but I've managed to find the tool that seats the O-rings, not O-rings, the dust seals and the oil seals for a very, very good price. So I'm going to do it myself, save quite a bit of money. While it's apart, I'm going to be replacing obviously the bushings, which is the problem with the forks at the minute. I'll be putting a lighter weight oil in, standard 10 weight. I'll be putting a 7.5 to speed it up a little, speed the response up a little bit. On top of that as well, I found a place in Germany that sells progressive springs, which is going to make a hell of a difference. And to complement it, the rear shock needs replacing. I knew the rear shock, those that follow or have followed me for a bit longer, they'll know that there was some issues with the bike from when I bought it. The rear shock being one of them. The slider's heavily pitted. This is mostly due to salt corrosion. Now to replace it with a factory part is, well, more than what the bike's worth, if I'm brutally honest. Now to get it refurbed, there's a place that quotes 110, but that's excluding parts. Now, because the spring's corroded, the slider's corroded, they're going to probably turn around and say it's not really salvageable and try and sell me a new shock anyway. So I had to look at the option for shocks, and I can get a Hogan adjustable for £300. Now it doesn't have individual adjustment for compression and rebound, but it does have an overall adjustment, which then is balanced, so it then alters the compression and the rebound accordingly for the settings that you put in. Obviously it's adjustable for preload as well, so a combination of those two changes, they will make a monumental difference. It will not be the same bike. Simple as that. Add to that a 30mm lowering kit just to drop the centre of gravity down a little bit, because it's not really a full off-road machine, so ground clearance is never going to be an issue ever. Will completely change the bike. What else? As far as brakes go, you've seen my rear brake set up. that one there. I'll be rebuilding the calipers and they'll get painted. I'll be rebuilding the calipers with new sliders and seals, etc. I've just put a new set of pads in the back at the minute, but they were only cheap just to get me by. Eventually I'll get some EBC red stuff, which will give it a hell of a lot more bite, which is ideal for the use, or the way I use the rear brake. As far as the front brake goes, I'm going to try and find a way to fit a better caliper, but that might not be possible. It's going to depend what's available, what sort of brackets are needed. And as far as the lever goes, the factory lever, it's going to cost quite a lot of money to fully refurb it. And then I'm going to have to paint it somewhere. Well, I might as well get a better lever and paint that instead. So I managed to get GSXR 750 lever, obviously second hand, not in the best of condition as far as looks go, but it was fucking cheap, and it's a much shorter litre at a better angle, again ideally suited for my riding style. I'm also toying with the idea of fitting flat bars, but that's going to depend on quite a lot of things. It might not work, might end up pushing me too far back on the bike. We'll just have to wait and see. But then again, I can get riser extensions. The reason why I want to go with a flat bar is, in all my bike riding career, I say career, I mean I've been riding bikes for a very long time, all different types, shapes, sizes, etc. And I really dislike any kind of sweep, and these have a lot of sweep. I really don't like it. It forces my wrists in. I find it very uncomfortable. So if I get a set of flat drag bars, oh, here we go. Get a set of flat drag bars and see if I can't adjust them to then fit, which is going to be much more comfortable on my wrists. All the cables are going to be replaced. Most likely with genuine Honda. I found a local place that can get basically anything off the bike from Honda direct. Trying to think what else there is. Oh, wheels. Changing the wheel bearings and dust seals. That's obviously, you know, while the wheels are off, that makes sense, and it's very inexpensive to do. As far as tyres go, at the minute I'm in love with the tyre that's on. If it doesn't wear out too quickly, I'll stick with this. You don't really feel it being squirmy at all. Just the simple fact that there's that much suspension, You know, very difficult to notice. As far as the rear tyre goes, I'm going to get a road legal cut slick, which is basically a slick with like a square pattern running down the middle, just enough tread to actually pass the E mark for UK legal road use. Throttle, I'm going to try and find a way to get a quick action throttle, because at the minute you need to turn it about 14 revolutions before you get to WOP or WOT. You know what I mean? So that'll make it much more responsive, especially with the engine modifications. As far as the carb goes, I don't think the carb really needs messing with. In fact, I don't really think that there's anything else I can actually do to the carb, to be honest. I might modify the airbox a bit more, try and get more air in. I don't know if I've mentioned exhaust. The exhaust, the headers on this need replacing from salt corrosion and age. Now, buying OEM is phenomenally expensive. So, the other option is aftermarket. Now, a pair of Arrow headers are approximately £180, and they're 2x2. Now, I'd like to actually change that and go 2x1 to give it a more motocross look, and then put a stubby oval can on it. Dickhead. So I found someone in Thornaby that will make a set of custom headers. Obviously all this is going to take me quite a while to do, but it's all in bite-sized chunks of money, which is not too bad. So I'll get a set of headers made, which will be 2x1. Nice short oval stubby end can. The back of the bike where it flares out, where the silencers are at the minute, I'm going to cut it so it's much narrower. Going to change the profile of the seat. I don't know if you can hear you, Dan. The fucking idiots, the pair of us. Yeah, so I'll give it a more motocross look, and then what I'd like to do after that is shorten the subframe, cut off the pillion foot pegs, because it's my bike, I'm not sharing it. by the time I finished, in theory it should be one hell of a machine. As always, it isn't going to increase the value at all, but it's all about pride of ownership. Ignorant tosser.